Travis Wayne Goodsell. So it kind of helps if you saw the video I did earlier investigating the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because I can't repeat all the information in every video, and so new people are going to come to different videos and they're not going to know the prerequisite information, and then they're going to make a stupid comment, and then they're going to humiliate themselves when I do a comment review video, and they're going to violate Nelson's order, General Conference, and blah, 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 blah. Just, they're going to project and pull a beam in them out, and they're not going to get it. But if I were to sum it up, 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 2. And if you can't figure it out, what is the name of the church? What religion type are you? Are you sure? Is that what that passage says you are? So I didn't go to school here in Utah. I was born in Berkeley, California. My nativity was Oakland, California. Moved to Michigan and had kindergarten and first grade there, and then we moved to Southern California and lived in Placentia, and then we moved for my 8th grade year to Corona, California, and went to Norco High School, and then went to Rick's. Went on my mission to New York, and came back to Rick's, passed up on Leanne, settled for Stephanie. She took me to Canada, went to the University of Lethbridge. She dumped me off in Utah, went to the University of Utah, but been here in Utah ever since. And so my education was science-based. So I don't know if Utah public schools teach Mormon religion in place of science. I don't know if the human anatomy is based on Mormon premortal existence, talking about the spirit and the body and death, and have no concept about the different bones and muscles, or biology where they teach abstinence only rather than teaching you about or agriculture where they just have a collection of seeds and say, oh, these are what's known as testimonies. So I have no clue what they're teaching Mormons, but I know the consequences of their education, and it definitely indicates that they are not learning science. And despite not learning science here in Utah, and my learning science in California, they did not teach me, and so I'm sure they're not teaching you, because I am aware that at the BYUs they're merging the sciences with psychology to screw them up. And so I'm sure there's probably some Mormon religion mixed with psychology to completely ruin the science courses for you. But I was never taught logic. There was one class, and it was back in 8th grade. No. 9th grade. Yeah, 9th grade. because Mason was in that class, and he was arguing with the teacher, and so the whole lesson was ruined because he and the teacher were debating as to whether Reagan economics was a good thing or a bad thing. Not too dissimilar from when I took what was an easy A for me because I'd already taken it at the University of Lethbridge, but a philosophy of religion that was being experimented with here at the University of Utah that year when I went. And I don't know if he was Mormon, but he was definitely Christian. And he ganged up on the teacher and took over the class. He ruined the class. You know, Jesus is now true because he was unable to soundly argue Jesus. And if you think that Christianity can soundly, prove that God does exist, that he's not dead, wrong. You have to use sound argument. And Christians, and thus Mormons, don't get it. Once you introduce something that's not real, something that's not of the physical realm, you automatically lose your debate. You automatically lose your argument. Your conclusions are automatically wrong. And this apparently is too hard to comprehend, because billions have been fooled by it. And so they then are weaponized to attack anybody who believes in logical Socratic method, and especially the pursuit of science. And it's very dangerous and deadly. We will enter into a dark ages if religion dominates again. And then we'll have another version of the Spanish Inquisition. But I guess people want it, because they think that they're not going to be affected by it. So, because Jesus is not real, and I'm sure you're shocked, as you don't believe Joseph Smith when he told you in verse 19 that Jesus is an abomination. That's what he means by all their creeds. Christian creeds are an abomination. The very first creed with the creation of Christianity was Jesus. And Joseph Smith calls that an abomination. So the great and abominable church has Jesus as the Christ. So what's the name of this church again? It's not Joseph's church then, is it? Told you needed to watch the prerequisite videos. And so because Constantine created Jesus and turned the Jewish literature into literal history, all of the people, places, and events in the Jewish apocalyptic literature now became historical documents. And so what did you think the Great and Abominable Church would do as an article in the church news today? Yeah. Uchtdorf is in Jerusalem. Biblical sites in the Holy Land testify of Christ? I'm speaking of Jesus. No, it doesn't. The Jewish author who wrote them as apocalyptic literature, each of the characters are symbolic types and shadows of the future people of the latter days. The places are symbolic types and shadows of the places in the latter day location. And the events are types and shadows of the events in the latter days. So it's kind of essential to eternal salvation to know the dates of the latter days. Wow, they're in the book of Revelation. Chapters 12 is the beginning Chapter 19 is the end. It's a 8-year period of time, technically. And thus the Passion Week is not Passion Week of literal history with literal history Jesus. It is a type and shadow of the latter days of 8 years. And so Palm Sunday, that's a little confusing. He comes riding in triumphant into Jerusalem, which is symbolic of Zion, as everybody's cheering, "Yay, we love you, Jesus." And then 8 days later, burn the witch! Kill him! Yeah, not quite. Again, it's all apocalyptic literature. The first day and the last day are the same day, the last day. And they give us the star dates in Revelation. And so, yes, that's why I tell you we're in the latter days. And it's kind of important, but you don't believe it's the final year. And so, yeah, you're probably going, well, yeah, but there's stuff that hasn't happened. Yeah, it's the final year. Guess when they're happening? And so, yeah, these sites are not literal history. So they don't testify of Jesus. Constantine said they testify of Jesus. He's lied to you. Constantine did a tour and said, that's that location, that's this location, this is the tomb, that's the hill where he was crucified, that's the Gethsemane that Claire will eventually sing her cute little song, that's his nativity, that's his birthplace. And this lie, because wrong locations. They are types and shadows, symbols of the latter day places. And the church will not tell you this. They can't. It would expose them as frauds. And so they just continue to lie and sucker as many of you as they can. And those of you who get weaponized into their false beliefs, you know, I get the blunt from it, as you call to have me murdered. Burn the witch! Let's measure him against a duck. Was the baby Jesus born in Bethlehem in a cave? Well, Constantine says he was. And so no. In fact, if you want to know where, the John also reveals where on earth all this is to take place. And there's a reason why the Jews, or at least a group of Jews, believe that America is the New Jerusalem. Yeah, it's America. It's not Jerusalem. And so if you're looking for the temple in Jerusalem to be built, good luck with that. Ain't gonna happen. That's not the prophecy. So I hope the Jews aren't thinking of that. Sorry, guys. Not the prophecy. I know, it was your scriptures in the first place. And Constantine ruined it for you too, with the biblical Hebrew text that got started 500 years after. That's why Elohim is in the singular rather than the plural. Oh, you don't know about the King Follett Discourse of Joseph Smith? Because Brigham Young didn't put it in our Doctrine and Covenants? Curious. Wonder why. Lots of scriptures in the Joseph Smith papers that Brigham Young did not put in our Doctrine and Covenants. Several of them involve Joseph Smith calling Brigham Young Judas. One even prophesies that Brigham Young's going to have him murdered. Is that why he's the great and abominable church? Is that why we're called the Church of Jesus Christ? And so, yeah, these pictures are to emotionally trigger you into the brainwashed manipulation. Emotional manipulation that they've got you brainwashed with. And the hymns, likewise, they stir your emotions and trick you. You know, you start feeling things. It must be true because I'm feeling this way. No. That's called emotivism. It's a false theory. It's been proven wrong. And so as much as people are being shown here worshiping idols, oh, yay, the mother behind it all. Some of the earliest efforts to identify biblical locations date back to the early 4th century, with Helena, the mother of Emperor Constantine the Great, made a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. See? Ta-da! And you can't get a clue. They don't get a clue. This was written by a Mormon, Scott Taylor. He doesn't get a clue. He doesn't understand what he just read or typed and posted. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there it is. It's under Building on Locations. I already told it to you, and boom, there it is. Helena. After Constantine designated them as literal history sites, his mother went on the tour to go, this is where my son said this is where my son said that is. And they think that's a testimony of Jesus. 300 years after the supposed event, of which Constantine made up. He made it all up. Because he's creating Jesus out of nothing. He even created a Greek word to describe Jesus, which is homuzion. And the only meaning it has is not real. He made Jesus a fallacy. It's an automatic loss in any debate. And yet Christians still keep trying. Oh, the watchmaker theory. The clockmaker. That was over the pulpit of conference by a member of the 70 decades ago. I still remember that, and I'd taken the course and was taught about that. And there he was, getting up at the pulpit of conference. I was going, oh my God, did he just do what I think he did? So, yeah, we're done. I was teaching you about it, and I should have just read it. Yeah, and he just continues on with her, Helena. Aided by word-of-mouth accounts. He spelled mouth wrong. He spelled it word-of-mount accounts. Helena started to identify different locations of New Testament events, the start of what has become the labeling of traditional sites. Yep. With many being adorned by churches and basilicas. Yeah. After. From there, the Holy Land became the destination. See? Remember the Book of Mormon talking about the tree of life, and there's the path that leads into the forbidden paths of darkness, and the filthy waters, and the great and spacious building. Yeah, the more you stray from the path with the iron rod to the tree of life, the more lost you get. Right here, being taught to you by Scott Taylor. Yep. And so these Christians are taking the great and spacious building to justify it as the tree of life. Mormons, likewise. But they're saying that it's not Constantine's Jesus. It's the real Jesus. So yeah, you have to get your facts straight. Because if you start on a sandy foundation, you're gonna slip in the quicksand. Should I use that song again in the description below? I think I shall.